All right, hello and welcome everyone. Elite Aspect F125, round 4 here in Bahrain as we're about to get this race started here in just a few moments, waiting on one more person to get in the lobby. I believe it just happened. So we should be about ready to go. It'll take a few minutes for everything to load, but I'm Fabregas115, giving you Elite Aspect F125, round 4, as we qualified yesterday, and we'll see those results here in just a moment. I'm just making sure the lobby is all set before we get into this. Does look like we'll be about ready to go. All right, so because we do qualifying the day before, we are putting the grid order up, and it takes a minute for all that to load, but we'll be going straight into the race. There will be a formation lap. We are doing 100% with no assists here in round 4 for Elite Aspect F125 at the Bahrain Sakir circuit. And as you can see, a little bit of that track map there on display. We'll go ahead and check out the calendar. As we've done Australia, China, and Japan, we're here in Bahrain this weekend. We'll move to the Jeddah Corniche circuit next weekend, and then we'll head across the Atlantic to the USA for the Miami, where that will be a sprint race weekend. Go ahead and check on the drivers. I don't believe either O&B Alberto or Marcos Olmedo will be, but they have very quick reserves in them today. Harrison Holmes is in, Animator is in, I believe Florisan as well, Young Lights. We should all see these drivers today. And then if we checked on the constructors, the Ferraris have stepped it up a little bit in the last race and a half, and close that gap to the V-Carbs, with the V-Carbs still dominant, strong. Kick Saubers with Harrison Holmes' performance last weekend brought them into the mix as well. These should be the driver lineups. I believe they are as up to date as possible. You will see a couple reserves in this afternoon, that is for sure. And if we look at the quality results, it was a V-Carb of Sergio Sabrino taking top spot. We'll be qualifying first with Liam Doherty, GFO, and Legion rounding out the top 4, but a lot of this will change as some of these were reserve drivers just in for qualifying as they need to field a driver, where the second one, and as far as 10 through, that's their fastest times, not maybe representative. So our provisional starting grid should look like this, with Sergio Sabrino in pole, with rounding out the front row GFO in the McLaren. Legion will be third, with Hugo Rodriguez fourth, Florissant and Antonio Bove 5th and 6th. The two Aston Martins front and behind each other, 7th MDJ, Young Lights in 8th, Venom in the Kick Sauber in 9th, with Abdullah and Williams in 10th, running out the top 10, with the Haas of Nikon and Poison Harbor 11th, 12th. The Mercedes of Eon Dunion, I believe that's SB5 or something like that, with Ballon in the Ferrari. Then Frigate, Evan Naslin. So these are guys that probably you would see much closer to the front, but they did not qualify yesterday. They had a stand-in, so they will start grid from the back, and there might have been some grid penalties handed out for a few drivers here and there. But Frigate in 15th, Edvin as a race winner already this weekend, I believe in China, sprint and race. In 16th, Harrison Holmes 17th, our winner last weekend. O&B in the Williams 18th. Souk will be 19th, and Dark Stomper 20th. As we are underway with the formation lap. Go ahead and check out some tires here. Hard tires for Sergio. All mediums down the board. Hards for Young Lights. A few soft drivers sprinkled in there from the back from 9th all the way down. So it'll be interesting to see how some of these drivers play with their strategies. As again, it is VA Sergio Sabrino on pole with a fantastic 126. Low 126, I believe, yesterday to put on pole. GFO in the McLaren in second, Legion in the Red Bull in third. That'll be Hugo Rodri, ONB in the second V carb. In fourth, Florson up to fifth with some dropouts. Moves Antonio Bovi up to seventh, MDJ all the way up to seventh, and Young Lights up to eighth. I believe they were 10th and 11th, or 11th and 12th as far as after quali. So had some definite drivers drop out there. I think these the replacements for Edvin Nazem, Harrison Holmes, Souk, Frigate, all those drivers. As it will be Venom Sam and Abdullah rounding out the top 10. Nikon 45 on the Haas with Poison Harbor and the other Alpine in 12th. SV5 Mercedes, and then Ballant in the Ferrari, who had good pace yesterday. I'm not sure why he's starting so far back. Frigate 3360 we know has pace. Now 15th, Edvin Naslin, who's a race winner. In 16th, Harrison Holmes, another race winner. In 17th, Pascal Gill, I think, is very, very quick. In 18th, we'll see Souk and Dark Stomper rounding out the grid order as the drivers are making their way up to the starting grid. Back markers just coming around. The last turn of 14 and 15, they call it. They call it 2 turns there, but it's really just turn 15, I guess we'll say. As Abdullah was, oh no, we'll see that. Don't worry about that. That is just them not perfectly hitting their marks as they move up. As we are here for Elite Aspect F125. Round 4 in Bahrain. There's 5 lights. Everyone pulls away as we make our way down into turn 1. Looks like the McLaren and GFO got a great launch, just taking the inside line. We've got a Red Bull up the inside into turn 1 as well. In the background, I don't see any 2 mishaps. Some drivers off the road. GFO core is taking the lead of this race. Sergio fighting back is going to be down on the inside going into turn 4, dragging both Red Bulls with him as the V-Carb in 5th place is now ONB Rodri. As we see a little bit of change in directions there of some of the drivers. The Red Bull of Legion has gotten alongside, but now Sergio is going to take 2nd place for good. It looks like for just a moment. It was that Bove that dropped back 1. We do have a caution. I do believe we have a safety car. Was the Williams of Abdullah that looks like had an issue going into turn 5. Is MDJ all the way back to 17th. Nikon up down to 16th, Frigate up to 13th, Pascal 12th, Edvin Naslin SV5 up to Harrison Holmes up to 9th, Florsop down to 8th. So crazy changing. Young Light's now up to 6th as we are under a full course caution. GFO and the McLaren taking the lead early. Could have been Sergio's hard compound tires just didn't fire up right away, obviously. And maybe didn't get the heat in them on the formation lap, as it looks like it was a VSC. We are back to racing. Legion making a look up the inside into turn 15 here. As we look further back, there's nothing. Sorry we missed that incident. We missed a lot of changes going on as well, as it looks like we saw the McLaren of Frigate into the pits already. As they make their way down into turn 1 again, we've got a spun Venom Sam in the background there. Ferrari off the track circuit as well. And the other McLaren coming out of the pits as we pick up with the leader of GFO. Everybody rounding turn 4 now. On the inside of the Haas of Nikon. To get past the Aston Martin there, offline there, that might bring the Aston Martin back around. Up with the leaders down into turn 10. There's your suggested strategies. DRS is now open. Soft, mediums. A lot of drivers going on to mediums, starting on mediums, maybe thinking of a one-stop. We've got a pretty tight bunch here. Young Lights, Antonio, Florson, Harrison Holmes up to 8th already. Edvin up to 9th. Pascal 10th. Again, some of these drivers that started at the back. Biggest losers were MDJ Nikon and Frigate, of course, who must have had damage. As we are beginning lap 3 here for Elite Aspect F125, round 4 here at the Bahrain Grand Prix. 100% no assists on these drivers. DRS was available. We expect to see a couple trains beginning. MDJ and Poison Arbor. I believe Venom had an issue. It spun around. That's a DNF. Unfortunate. Not sure if they couldn't get back on track there. As it is Poison Harbor coming back on the soft tires around the outside of turn 4. Isn't able to get that done. Legion is all over the back of Sergio. But Sergio is also very, very close. So, for this year, lots of Honda-powered Red Bull engines in the top 5 here. But leading the way is a Mercedes-powered with GFO in the McLaren. Florissant and Young Lights, Harrison Holmes, that's a battle to watch out for. Edvin and Pascal. I believe Pascal might have got past Edvin there. SV5 MDJ looking to make up for not a great start. Nikon as well in the Haas might look to improve. Frigate, I think, is just hoping for the best. After I think there was an issue with Abdullah and Frigate possibly, and that was the issue. As fastest lap, Bove is closing the gap. Florissant and Young Light still battling. Florissant does get by under DRS. We'll move up to 6th. Young Light's on the hard tires though, so we'll see about race strategy here, how that works. Very, very close with Sergio going into turn 4. As we'll see if Harrison Holmes can emulate what Florissant just did on the softer compounds. I do believe your best laps will be the first 10 laps probably on the medium tires, and then they might start to suffer, come off around, you know, a little bit. But yeah, you can probably push 10 really, really good laps out of a pair of mediums, that's for sure. And you'll still be able to take them 20 laps, I would think. As you see the DRS train happening, Legion can't put any too much pressure on Sergio due to Sergio having the DRS, and GFO Core is having to defend against 2 DRS drivers behind, as Nikon in the Haas and Valent in the Ferrari were battling. We make our way back up the field. No DRS down that straight. Is Legion close enough? Maybe. Even with both DRSs. It looks like it will be Sergio. Is the Red Bull following suit? They're going to be side by side. McLaren of GFO is going to end up 3rd here. And ONB Hugo also may be able to capitalize. Everybody's going to have DRS. Down on the inside of 4. Very, very dangerous to put it there. But if it works out, and you can get the run into 5 and 6, that'll be spot done. GFO down 4 spots, or 3 spots in 2 turns. And we expect to see quite a bit of this happening. As it is Sergio, probably has a little bit of more command now in first place on those hard compound tires, can kind of set the pace. But as you see, line of stern there, all that DRS. Harrison Holmes got past Young Lights. Crucial for Florissant to have gotten past Young Lights. Edwin Naslin in the points in 10th on those hard compound tires. Plenty to play for. MDJ is kind of dropped back. We'll see about that gap. And Sabrino in clear air. able to open up a 1 second gap and break DRS already. So 2 through 6 are going to have to work together here if they want to try to keep that gap closing. SB5 came into the pits and retired the car. Harrison Holmes, Young Lights, and Pascal seems to be a battle with Naslin closing in. And then it's 2 through 6 at the moment. As Sergio, by his qualifying times, can be 5 to 8 tenths quicker a lap at points. Has broken the DRS to Legion behind. Antonio Bove keeping that gap closed. Young Lights is still all over the back of Harrison. That gap is not gaining. Harrison Holmes needs to get on it a little bit. He wants to catch the front runners, the top 6, and get into that pack. As we see the drivers moving about on the main straight here, some with DRS, some without. Is Antonio Bove going to be around the outside of that one? He's going to take the inside line now as Young Lights gets by Harrison Holmes down to the inside corner. That's bringing Pascal into the fight. A little off track there, back up to the leaders. Doesn't look like anything happened. Harrison Holmes able to fend off Young Lights there as well. The 2 Ferraris side by side into turn 4. Bringing Dark Stomper into the mix. Sergio is managing that gap now. Young Lights, Harrison Holmes still back and forth. Young Lights was able to get by. Must have got a much better exit out of turn 10. Dark Stomper and Balance. So Balance might have an issue. Still just a little too far back, maybe. A late lunge. Possibly. Oh, so close, so close, so close. But all of these, so 2 through 6 fighting for those podium positions. Young Lights, Harrison Holmes still battling. Will this be Harrison Holmes' opportunity? Do believe it is. Young Lights feints. Harrison Holmes goes to the outside. Lost the inside traction. Young Lights still side by side, is going to pull in behind. Again, ONB Pascal right behind too. Just waiting for something to happen. And as we ride on board with them down into turn 10. Check back on the leaders here in just a moment. Lock up there. Oh, able to get better traction. Off the road goes Harrison. Young Lights going to be able to capitalize, moving off the track to get a little more slipstream, as it's Edmund Naslin and Pascal as well. Young Lights by, Edmund down on the inside. Here comes Pascal, now the outside of turn 12. Edmund Naslin in 10th moves to the inside, and now the inside of Harrison Holmes as well through turns 13. Harrison Holmes off the track, Edmund Naslin up to 8th, Young Lights 7th. Side by side, interlocking wheels. Oh, I don't want to miss a pass at the front, as it is ONB Hugo getting past the Red Bull. Harrison Holmes, Pascal, Young Lights, Edvin, 4 wide going into turn 1 here. With Pascal making the best of it. trying to break the slipstream. All four of these drivers fighting for one spot. Harrison Holmes is able to get the inside line into 4. Pascal maybe took the undercut, is able to get back in front. Back and forth these drivers are going. Naslin got past Younglights. Now Younglight's back to 10th. This is going to bring MDJ as Nikon and Poison Harbor now up to 12th. Nice move into turn 1. 4, I'm sorry. His DRS is open for, but the turn into 11 is tough. Up through 12, and then the right-hander of 13. Get the best exit, can be full throttle, don't have to worry about track limits coming out of that turn. You can definitely get a good run, but overtaking into 14 and 15 is difficult as well. Pascal will not have DRS. Harrison Holmes and Edvin Naslin will. I would love to do an onboard with one driver, but then you miss out on the others. So lock up from Harrison Holmes. Maybe thinks about the inside line. Unable to do it. Those 4 are going to stay the same, I'm sure. We'll check back into turn 4. As the leaders are coming out of 4 with no changes. Here we go. Harrison Holmes down on the inside is going to get by. Came out a little wide. Side by side through 5 and 6. Touched a little bit of wheel there. Little bit of tagging back and forth, but for the most part, wow, look at that. Brave from Edvin Naslin all the way back. We're trying to go down the inside. It didn't pay off, and now Younglights may be able to take advantage with DRS. As this has brought MDJ into the mix as well. Something might happen back there, but we'll come back up to the leaders where Sergio has built up a 6-second gap onto 2 through 6 here. So far and away with clean air, much better. As you see the DRS for the Red Bull of Legion, is he going to be able to make a move finally? Would have to do a very late break there. Would have been possible, maybe. Antonio Bove, GFO, are they able? Florissant back within under a second. Here goes Harrison. Edvin Naslin trying to take advantage. Him and Harrison still battling, little off the track. 4 wide, they want to go into turn 4 now. Possibly. Edvin Naslin up to 8, 7th, Harrison 8th. Younglight's now 9th. Oh! And I believe Harrison Holmes did get hit in the rear. That brings MDJ up to 9th. Younglight's up to 8th. Naslin 7th. But I definitely think there was some contact there, as we did see the rear end of Harrison Holmes up in the air. And then ONB Pascal was passed quite abruptly. So he might have tapped the back there. A little bit of rubbing. That's okay. Back up to the leaders. Can Legion stay with Hugo? And at the same time break the DRS of his teammate Antonio Bove behind him. As we're on lap 12 now. Round 4 here in Bahrain. Lead Aspect F125. Season just began. 3 rounds down. Looking for the 4th now as we're 12 laps into this race, where we're seeing a pretty fascinating story of changing the lead. Sergio finally was able to get into clean air and push on based on his qualifying pace. Should be a little bit faster than, I would say, the field. As everyone in the chats will attest to the times that he was setting. But 2 through 6 has been a battle. 7 through 10th, 11th has been a battle throughout most of this race. As we can check back within, is Edvin Naslin, a race winner around China Sprint in the Haas, and then in the Ferrari took the Grand Prix win. Still trying to hold off other drivers. Young Lights, MDJ, Pascal, Harrison Holmes had an issue. I don't see any damage on the car. We'll keep an eye on that gap, see if it closes any. As it looks like the initial first part of the first stint jockeying for position has kind of worn away, and the drivers are settling into a rhythm depending on their tire strategy. Everybody in the top 11 on mediums, as GFO not quite. Now is going to, with the DRS, maybe be able to get around the outside. Yeah, Antonio Bove has a drop in behind. GFO back up to 4th for now. Let's see if he can pull Antonio and Florissant along to keep them in that podium hunt. As it was Harrison Holmes into the pits, put on a set of mediums after 13 laps. Sometimes you just need to change your tire to shake things up. MDJ, Young Lights, Pascal, and Edvin Naslin off battling. Ambitious to go into turn 10, thinking about it. He may have thought about it. MDJ, pretty much the last of the medium tire runners. But I think MDJ on the hards, Edvin on the hards. Pascal still on the mediums, but yeah, about now is when the mediums are going to start falling off a little bit. The hards might come into their own, as the gap from Sergio to Hugo has dropped a little bit. It's possible that Sergio realized he was far and away. There was no need to push on as much as he was. Legion unable to make anything stick in turns 1, 2, and 3. Pascal losing out. MDJ and Young Lights probably went side by side there. Edvin Naslin, Pascal may have been tempting. This is going to shut everything down, as that is Frigate in the McLaren at turn 12 and 13 off the track. Not sure if that's just a safety car or a virtual safety car. I believe this is a full course caution. That shouldn't be too hard to manage. A safety car just after the DRS engagement out of turn 3 before turn 4. This will back the pack up. We'll see about pit stop strategies coming forward now. Because on a medium tire, I would think you may want to get off of it. It is everybody coming into the pits. We see Bove getting past. That's allowed. Is anyone staying out? Will be the question. Alright, so everybody into the pits. Everybody coming out. We're going to have at least one lap of safety car. All right, so safety car is probably ending this lap as they're making their way down one of the back straights here. Should be getting under restart after safety car. Everybody's made at least one stop. Those are your tire compounds. Now, Sergio, so you have to change a compound at least, you know, once, and you have to go to a different compound. So those who started on mediums are now on hards. Those who started on hards are probably now on mediums. Two stop, probably definitely now. I don't see anybody doing 40 laps on a set of hards. I guess it could be, maybe, possibly possible. That's a long way to go on even a set of hards from here on in. As the safety car will not be coming in this lap, we'll be doing one more lap. So interesting race to start with, as it was Sergio in the lead. GFO took the lead on the lap one and held it for quite a bit, a few laps. Sergio able to get by and open a gap. Then Legion, Hugo, GFO, Antonio, and Florissant have all been battling. But what this does is changes the race slightly. For both, one good thing is it brings everybody back together, but also where it happened on lap 15, everybody was going to pit anyway and go ahead and put on another set of tires. So in essence, I believe it has made this a two-stop race. So everybody will pit again and have your choice when it comes to it if you have used two separate ones as of yet. So it does bring the pack all back together, which is nice. As I'm not sure what happened to Frigate and caused an accident. He was way off on the runoff, and I know the car has to be removed before any race can be, but it's removed quickly, especially in game. And in real life, the only reason that we would have a safety car for this long and not be back on the way if there was barrier damage and they had to repair something. So maybe he did. It was right in here. So coming up 12, yeah, if you hit the curb, you can definitely lose the rear end, and you can probably skid all the way up, but it's so open. There's plenty of room for you to put the car sideways and stop the car. So safety car is in this lap. Pascal has left the session. Wasn't he up to 9th? So maybe he just needs to get an invite. As we are waiting on Sergio to get us back underway. Looks like he is now. As DRS will be disabled. We will make the run down to turn 1 again. Everybody line astern, no DRS. Do we see any moves going on there in the background? I think O&B will be losing some spots here because he's ghosted out of the car and needs to get back in. Has rejoined, which is good news, but we'll lose a couple spots. MDJ already off the pace to Young Lights. Needs to close that gap back up. Sergio has already put out a 1.5 second gap. And Hugo is at risk of losing that gap also to Legion. The Haas of Edmund Naslin getting by. Florissant Bove as well. Something must have happened to Bove. He's holding that inside line. Nope, now the outside of 12 into 13, not going to work. Young Lights keeping an eye on this battle, looking for any opportunity. as you won't have DRS quite as yet either. Going into turn 4, we will. And as Legion is dropped back, Hugo is able to keep that, so it's pretty much the top 9 in contention here. Watch out for Harrison Holmes in the background as well. Florissant and Antonio still battling. Again, pretty much everybody on fresh tires, but who's got the softer rubber? Young Lights gets by. It's Florissant pretty hard there, but not too much in it. Easy through 6 and 7. Florissant had to back out. Now live and fight another day brings his teammate into contention. As that is a long line of cars. As we see Edvin Naslin around the outside, that's an interesting place to overtake. GFO might have not gotten an exit out of one of the turns because it definitely brought Young Lights right back into the mix. Antonio Bove now down to 7th. Florissant down to 8th. It's up to 5th, I believe. And let's keep an eye on Harrison Holmes as well. Up at the front, ONB, Hugo, and Legion battling. Young Lights and GFO battling as well behind them. Hugo was able to get by Legion there. Legion coming back with the DRS. Not going to be able to make it happen into turn 4. Ambitious from Antonio thinking about the inside. Young Lights up to 5th with that pass. Able to get these medium tires to gain some track position after the restart. As we come down the back straight here on lap 20 of 57. Sergio far and away on those medium tires was able to pull a gap. Already 8 seconds. Who his teammate behind on the hard compound tires, who has put it into second now. It's the Red Bull of Legion, the Haas of Edvin, and the Alpine of Young Lights all chasing. Again, probably around lap 26, 27, we might see a change as Antonio Bove with the DRS. Legion and Hugo still battling into turn 1, side by side out of turn 3. Who's got the DRS? Neither of them got it. That's going to bring Edvin Naslin into the mix. Oh, a little bit of contact there, as Legion was able to maintain second. Tight battling. ONB now back to 4th. Young Lights trying to make something down on the inside with the pressure tires at the moment. Unable. Oh, Young Lights a little bit late on the brakes. A little bit of contact. I'm not seeing wings flying off, so it can't be been so bad. Now Naslin and Legion are going to battle for a few laps, I believe. As you do see the two Aston Martins there. That could be interesting. Harrison Holmes, race winner. Dominant performance last week. Now up to 10th. Plenty of time left in this race. Plenty of things can happen. You see Edvin Naslin make his way. Going to take the inside line into turn 1. Oh, and we've got Hugo Roberto sideways. Young Lights, Florissant anybody else involved, no, it was just Rodrigo that went sideways there. Not sure if there was contact. I didn't see. As you see the McLaren of GFO and Florissant battling in the background now. Florissant up to 6, GFO down to 7th, MDJ up to 8. That puts ONB in 10th behind Harrison Holmes now. Pascal Gill was now back in the car and is able to get that car up to 11th. Probably had a lot of work to do after the disconnection and the ghosting. As Young Light's in the mix for a podium position now, look at all those cars. As Edmund Naslin, maybe with a benefactor of some of the battling behind, was able to open a small gap to Legion, who's now sitting 3rd in that Red Bull. Splitting the two Red Bulls as Young Lights in 4th, Antonio Bove 5th, Florissant and MDJ got separated, with GFO now being the meat in that sandwich. Young Lights might be ambitious, late on the brakes, able to get the nose in front. Can Antonio Bove fight back, or Legion fight back? With Bove now having DRS on his teammate into turn 4, able to get down the inside, has the better rubber at the moment, you would think. Legion losing out to 5th. So easy to drop spots quickly, and a few of them at the same time, with the way the DRS works between into turn 1 and into turn 4. Young Light's now up in the 3rd in a podium spot in the Alpine. Perhaps able to make a little gap in some free air. Was not able to be under pressure from DRS behind. This whole train of jobbers, 3rd through 10th, all in this line pretty much. As it will be Antonio going down on the inside. Switchback not available for Young Lights there. All drivers get through. Young Lights battling back. It's going to have the outside. Difficult to hold on to. Who's ahead into 5 and 6? Young Lights will have to follow. Back down to 4th. Very close behind. And we'll see how the DRS works for everyone into turn 11. Sergio beginning lap 25 of 57. Started on pole, had the race lead taken on turn on lap 1 by GFO, who's now running 7th. I was able to get back by GFO and put a nice gap in. We had a safety car around lap 15, where everybody came in and switched their tires out from mediums to hards to mediums, depending. And has been putting in quite a performance, as it is Young Lights and Bove battling again into turn 1. Young Lights able to get out of that one. He's going to have DRS in front. That's going to put Legion in the mix for a move into turn 4, but not going to happen. As ever since the safety restart, Sergio has built a gap. Edmund Naslin, MTJ charging through to lap 5 and 6 there. That's going to bring O and B Hugo into the mix as well. MTJ able to hold on to 9th for now. I expect O and B Hugo to be pressing on that claim here in a few laps time. So after the safety car restart, yes, Sergio was able to build a little bit of a gap. Edvin was able to move up to 2nd and has now built a gap. We are looking at 3rd through 10th. And this line coming up through 12 and 13 now. All the way back from Young Lights to O and B Hugo in that 2nd V car. Any little mistake by the driver in front like that, we'll see a drop. Oh, that must have just been a glitch. I'm sorry. It looked like Young Lights had really slowed down there. As Hugo was able to get by into turn 1 with DRS with no complaint from MDJ, it looks like. As the two Red Bulls are trying to work together now to close that gap. Close enough, but not doing. So doesn't want to risk the two cars. Maybe a little more aggressive with a different driver, but not his teammate, especially into turn 4. Try to work together, try to close that gap. The more you battle, the more likely. As Souk has had an issue, it looks like. Has been passed by Poison Harbor and Dark Stomper. MDJ now down to 10th. After getting passed by Hugo and Harrison Holmes, who are right in this mix for whoever wants the last podium spot. Young Lights leading the way in 3rd place at the moment in the Alpine. Lap 26 of 57. So approaching very, very quickly that 50% mark. So all these drivers probably on 10 to 11 lap old, either hards or mediums, whichever ones they put on after the safety car. Nikon in the Haas in 12th on 12 lap old softs. They're going to have to come off. Another glitcher. Antonio Bove just had that much speed going down in turn 1. Nothing Young Lights could do about it. Gonna fight back here, of course. I think is Mike going to be his intention. Pulls out and back into the wheel tracks. Harrison Holmes ups to 8th. Edmund Naslin up to 2nd. And big hopes for, Frigate and Malin, Abdullah when the race started, but unfortunately their races were ended early, prematurely. Poison Harbor is now coming out of the pits. As it will be Sergio in the V-car, beginning lap 28 of 57 in the lead. 14 and a half second gap. Edmund's got 7 seconds to Antonio Bove behind. It was under pressure from 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 drivers. All very, very quick. Legion has lost out on the DRS. Is Florison gonna be brave? Looks like it. No, maybe not. Pulled out a little early. Got side by side. Able to get it turned in. Legion left space around the outside. It was nice for him to do that. He certainly didn't have to. Young Lights on Antonio. Florison on Legion now. Got Harrison Holmes behind. GFO as well. Hugo trying to close that gap back up. MDJ holding on to 10th at the moment. Pascal 2 seconds back in the Williams, so we'll keep an eye on that gap. There's still plenty of time left here. Round 4 here at the Bahrain Grand Prix. 100% no assist for Elite Aspect F125. A game came out, what, the end of June? No. I don't remember when the game came out, but it hasn't been out but a couple months maybe. Maybe a little more. And we started this league, build this league. No assists, 100%, full race weekends. We do practice 1 and 2 on Thursdays, practice 3, and then qualifying on Fridays, and then race on Saturdays. And this is round 4 at Bahrain, Elite Aspect F125. 29 laps down of the 57 here for Sakir circuit. We've still got everybody within 1 second from 3rd back to pretty much 9th. MDJ has dropped off of Hugo out of 9th place and needs to keep an eye on his mirrors on ONB Pascal in 11th. Guys, almost side by side there. Legion Flores on Harrison Holmes getting very, very close. All on the hard compound tires. I expect now that the mediums might start dropping off just a little bit, whoever's on them. But this is a great battle. Legion, Force on Harrison, and GFO. ONB Hugo is making his claim. Pascal did get by MDJ for the last points paying position. As that was Antonio Bove into the pits. He's gonna dump a set of mediums already. Young Light's up to 3rd now. Here's Holmes, Florissant, very, very close. Legion, all of them. MDJ now closing that gap back to Pascal. It is Young Lights. It takes him into turn 11, up the hill through 12, then back down to 13. 30-second time. $25 laps to go. Young Lights down the inside is able to make that one done. Back up to third. All side by side to 5 and 6 and 7 is dangerous. Florson with the inside now. Not able to make that stick. Harrison Holm loses a little traction on the exit. Late. What a move from Harrison Holmes there. Very nicely judged. Able to get his nose in front. As it's Legion now leading Young Lights from Harrison from Florissant. Back markers coming up. They should ghost, so... Lucky for Legion, he's going to get DRS'd off the Ghost lap car. Harrison Holmes now up to fifth. Started well at the back. I believe had an issue. Maybe it was contact, a spin with someone. Now up to fifth. And is harassing Young Lights for fourth. Now we know how quick Harrison can be. We saw it last week in Japan. He was rapid. Ed Van Naslin we saw in China where he was rapid. ONB Alberto, who's not here today. Australia, rapid. Round 4, proven Sergio, rapid. Edvin, rapid. Legion pulling away as well. Having to defend though. I'm sorry. Legion defending from Young Lights. Unable to make that move. See, now is where we get that transition in the medium to the hard tires, where whose is better. Young Lights able to stay within that 1 second of Legion. It's helping him to defend from Harrison behind, who Florissant is just going to follow. It's gotten a gap to OMB Hugo at the moment. Rodrino, I believe it is. But GFO looking to pounce either one of those drivers if anyone makes a mistake. We might catch MDJ. I think what's happening with Pascal and MDJ is they're going back and forth because either their tires are that much offset, which they shouldn't be. So Harrison Holmes does get by Young Lights. Young Lights fighting back up the hill. Yeah, I think this is where the hards are still holding on and the mediums are starting to fall away just a little bit. See GFO in the background keeps getting out of the wheel tracks of the other drivers. Maybe trying to extend his tires. On a set of hards, so one stop is going to be difficult, and to have them in any way to defend. As Young Lights just flies past with that speed, Florissant may be thinking about it. Harrison Holmes defending to the inside. Florissant got to the inside. Harrison Holmes is not going to have the inside. Oh no, all the drivers, a little bit of contact there. Harrison escapes. O&B comes through past Florissant now. Harrison Holmes back down to 6th, now back down to 7th. GFO is taking Harrison has left the session. GFO took advantage. So did Hugo. Young Lights has dropped out of 1 second. So is O&B Hugo now after the battling between Hugo, Florissant, GFO, Pascal, and Harrison Holmes, who has left the session, it looks like, retired the car. Doesn't look like it's on track, so hopefully no interruption, as Florissant now defending from GFO behind, trying to stay in the wheel tracks of Hugo at the same time. As that'll be the closest battle on track besides MTJ and Pascal, who I think are running alternate setups. So one pulling away in the straights or vice versa. Florissant whip the speed into turn one, are able, defending down the inside. Is Hugo able to? No, it doesn't look like. I think Florissant will take fifth, but we'll have to defend to Hugo coming back with the DRS into turn four. As both of these drivers are looking to hunt down Young Lights, who, with all the action behind him, is able to make almost 1 second gap. Looks to push though. Maybe not too easy on these hards. We might start seeing pit stops here soon. Antonio has made a second stop and is up into 10th. These 20 lap old mediums are probably getting close, even though they have burned off more than 50% fuel. I would think in another 10 laps, these hard tires might be saying, you know what, I don't really want to work that well anymore either. And it is Young Lights that now leads the group that's all within 1 second, the DRS train. Of Young Lights, Florissant, ONB, Hugo, GFO, and Pascal just back there with MDJ towing along behind them. As Florissant is able to get past, and then Hugo putting his nose in, taking a sniff, unable. Florissant up to fourth now, with Young Lights in fifth. I think that battle is going to persist, with Hugo again, like a shark sniffing blood in the water, just waiting for a chance to get a nose in there as well. Oh, give me the helicopter into turn 10. There we go. Young Lights pulling out of the wheel tracks and then back in. Can Florissant catch Legion ahead? That gap closes. We'll be on for a podium battle. As 14 drivers remain out of the 20 that started. Abdullah first to quit, or not quit, but unfortunate results. Venom Sam, then with the Mercedes of SV5, Ballin in the Ferrari, Frigate 3360 had brought out the safety car in turn 12 for a few laps, and then Harrison Holmes just recently out of turn 4. May have suffered damage from a collision, but I didn't see anything too, there was strong impact. So I'm not sure. As Young Lights did take a sniff at Florissant into turn 1, we'll probably do the same thing into turn 4. Whoa, that is brave, that is close, that is wheel-to-wheel racing. Hugo watching it up front. Florissant able to hold off the charging Young Lights, getting all out of the rest of those medium tires. Slow it down there, Hugo, because that could have led to the back of Alpine. I'm sure he had it under control. I'm being more of a diva about it than I'm sure they were. I'm not feeling the brake pedal as they are, so... As this battle has been going on for quite some time. MTJ sticking with Pascal. DJ's on the hards. Forson on the hards. Those medium tires. "23 laps. As it is our race leader making his way through 5 and 6, lapping a couple cars here and there. 21 seconds out front. Edmund Naslin 12 seconds to Legion behind. As it is Young Lights and ONB battling into turn 1, it looks like. Forson in with that as well. Young Lights had to back out, didn't want to clip or get clipped by ONB. We'll have the DRS. Hugo going to make it by Young Lights. Here comes GFO down the inside, able to get by Young Lights there. Can Young Lights hold on to that? No, is followed in behind. It's brought Pascal and MDJ even closer now within that 1 second. So ladies and gentlemen, we got a fight on our hands. 18 laps to go. 4th through 9th, all undecided. Any of these drivers could end up at the back or the front of that number. Keep an eye on Antonio Bove, see if he can close that, as he's made his second stop. It should have fast tires at the moment, but... Getting lap 40 of 57 for these drivers on screen. Via GFO may have thought about it there into turn 1. Little lock up from Florissant. Drivers behind, well behaved. Pascal makes it inside of turn 4. And this is where I feel Young Lights is at a disadvantage with the older medium tires, based on who has hards. But maybe time for Young Lights to pit. Which I don't imagine these hards will be very good at the end if these guys keep taking them. They probably need to pit soon too. If they do. Who knows? Horns on mediums. Sergio on mediums too. I don't know if they're going to pit. Sergio could pit. Young Lights does come into the pits. Another 8, 16, 15 laps on these hard compound tires. I just don't see it. But those drivers got all the info, more than I do at the moment. Might be difficult for GFO with Coruscant DRS in front of him as well. But that was close. Lock up from Hugo into turn 8. GFO very close behind Forza now. Make their way into turn 9 and 10. DRS for everybody but MDJ. It's dropped off the back of Pascal just a touch. Antonio Bove is closing that gap. Down to 7 seconds. Young lights on mediums. Very, very fresh. Those will definitely last to the end now. As we're keeping an eye on 4th through 8th. That was Edvin Naslin coming into the pits, getting off those mediums, and put on another set of mediums, I believe started on the hards. As in the background, we see a ghost car mixed up in there. Florissant 6/10 from Hugo Rito. GFO in the McLaren closer to Florissant. That's why we're just keeping it here so we can see both. I try to put it in the camera in the middle of the battles that's happening. Like if it's a 4-car battle, I'll leave it on the car in the 2nd or 3rd spot so we can see all of it happening. Sometimes it just does close-up angles though, so you don't get to see as much. As will GFO think about it? No, everybody with DRS. So we'll watch Edvin Naslin probably make his way through the field. Down into 7th, I'm sure with that fresh rubber. And probably MDJ, ONB, GFO, but all these drivers might pit as well anyway. I believe Sergio has pit as well. Yes, 2 stops now on a soft compound. Which is definitely possible to take to the end, of course. So provisionally that brings Legion up to 2nd, with Hugo in 3rd. But Edvin with 2 stops now on a soft compound tire. I think this will be a case of who bites first, these 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Because if MDJ can hear me, you've got Edvin Naslin on a 2-stop, on a 1-lap old soft behind you that is absolutely lighting it up. So it may be time to go ahead and pit. And you'll gain that 25 seconds by the end of the race over the next 15 laps. As this battle has settled, everybody within DRS, everybody within striking distance. On those soft compound tires, Edvin just able to slice through. Sergio setting 128.9s on soft compound tires for the fastest lap of the race. As pit and has an 18-second gap to Legion in 2nd. That's Edvin Naslin going past the Williams of ONB Pascal. In that Haas, I imagine, yeah, Sector 2 is where he's just gonna tear that time a new one. Pretty much be able to drive freely over the track wherever he wants. So the drivers behind, for the ones that he's passing, should take note. Probably a good time to get on a fresh set of rubber. Start crunching laps. There's nothing anybody can really do. Well, that makes for a nice overtake compilation for us to watch. He can pick his line whenever he wants, doesn't matter inside, outside. Unable to do anything here, of course. But we'll see. Hugo able to hold his own for a little bit here. But then the grip is just too much. And now the DRS will doubly be too much. And DJ into the pits. See where he comes out compared to Young Lights. Will it be in front? Will it be behind? That'll be interesting. Young Lights probably has been putting in pretty good laps, as he will be ahead of MDJ. As Nikon came in the pits as well. Bove made that stop. Those are going to be older hard compound tires. Well, more laps on these hard compound tires, I just don't know. Maybe the tire deck wasn't as bad today, as in the beginning it did say soft sauce to hards or soft sauce to mediums for a two-stop strategy. Have to talk to the drivers, as it is Naslin getting back ahead of Legion up in front to restore the order as it was before Edmund made his pit stop. So Legion, Hugo, Florissant, GFO. I wouldn't be Pascal, might have pit twice already. No, the one stop. So it is Bove that'll probably benefit. If he can hold on to those hards, if everybody in front of him pits, he could definitely see himself close to that podium. Our leader is beginning lap 47 of 57 here, so 10 laps to go. Lead Aspect F125, round 4 here at the Bahrain circuit. 100%, no assist for these drivers. Next week we'll be moving to Saudi Arabia at the Jeddah Corniche circuit. Very fast, very tight, very blind. So that'll be very, very interesting to see, especially with no racing line there. These drivers still line of CERN, every one of them with the DRS. There's now a chance for Florissant to make that move into turn 1. Pulls to the inside. A little bit of a lockup that's going to allow the feet carb of Hugo to come back. Has the inside through turn 3. Very tight through 4, or to turn 3, sorry. Turns 2 and 3. Hugo able to hold on. Makes Florissant at risk to GFO behind. Surprised none of these drivers have pit, and I'm crazy to think that they're going to take them the rest of the way. Do have some back markers in front of them. But if any of these drivers pit right now, I think they will come out behind Young Lights and possibly MDJ. Possibly both, yeah. So they're almost at the point of no return now. Then you keep these tires, hold on to what you've got. Try to. As it is Florissant looking, lock up into turn 1, unable to make something happen there. Yeah, I think these drivers 4 through 7 have missed their opportunity to pit. It's too late in the game. I think they're taking the tires to the end. Are at risk from Antonio Bobe. I don't know if Young Lights will be able to make up the time. Thought the other drivers might pit. MDJ is much fresher sauce. Young Lights is mediums, maybe by about 5 or 6 laps. 4 laps, okay. Not going to be much of a difference at the end there. That should be a good battle. Pascal, GFO, Florissant, and Hugo all still within that 1 second of each other. It looks like all of them will be taking the hard compounds to the end. How quick can Antonio close that gap on the much fresher rubber? 3 seconds to maybe, I mean, it's worth it if he can get 2 positions, that's for sure, even 1. But where was he running? I think he was in there with GFO and Florissant at the time, so. Young Lights and MDJ holding up the final points position. They're going to be battling for a point here over the next 5 or 6 laps. And it's up to Hugo, Florissant, GFO, and OMB Pascal. Which one of them saved their tires, which one of them hurt their tires. As they're all under the same strategy, same compound, same length of time. So, who has a little bit more that they can squeeze out of their tires here in the last 7 laps for Elite Aspect F125 here at the Bahrain Grand Prix. Round 4. Move to Jeddah next week. Then a sprint in Miami. Pretty much following the original F1 25 season calendar. Keep an eye on the gas. Big shout out to MDJ who got past Young Lights. I'm sorry I did not see that. So MDJ up to 9th. Young Lights down to 10th. We'll give Young Lights a good shout out here in the Alpine. Beautiful livery. Beautiful looking car. Excellent colors. Not my cup of tea, but I think, you know, objectively it's a pretty decent looking car. Game did a pretty good job. But shout out to Young Lights for getting us all together and having us be able to race here in Elite Aspect F125. I am Fabregas 115, bringing you commentary every weekend, practice, qualifying, try to do it all. I'll miss a few here and there, but for the most part, I will be with you guys throughout the season. As it will be Florissant with the DRS. But then once he pulled out of that slipstream, it's like he hit a wall. Has his nose a little bit in front. I don't think this... Able to kind of bully a little bit out of the way. Nothing wrong with that. I was looking to see if that brought GFO into it, or is it O&B coming straight back? It is. No, Florissant, a little lock up there, so Florissant takes the inside line. Gets back around. GFE and O&B behind, really looking On a chance to capitalize from these two drivers, maybe rubbing a little bit too hard and being able to capitalize on a mistake and get past both of them. That's GFO slowing it down quickly into turn 10, able to stay out of the back of the V-carb ahead. That's Florson up to 4th now. And again, all these drivers on 30 plus lap old hard compound tires. Interesting, Bobe not really closing that gap that much, as we thought that would come down. We do see drivers with penalties, so we try not to look at that. Obviously it sorts itself out when they cross the line and who gets shuffled around. But where you finish on track, because these penalties are for barely going over a white line where you didn't gain an advantage, it's not going to move you up 3 spots. As everyone has DRS on Florson now, he's going to lose out to Hugo. GFO putting the nose down, unable to get it stuck in. Florson will take the inside line trying to come back. Gets it slowed down, a little bit of a wobble. GFO and ONB are now battling. So ONB gets past GFO into turn 4. Antonio's still looking on. 5 laps to go here. GFO down to 7th. ONB now up to 4th, with Florson and Pascal in the middle. It was just the opposite. And all these drivers' tires are the same. The McLaren is so close, but getting a move down in turn 11 is very, very tough. There's Antonio Bobe in the back of the screen now, thinking he made the right decision. A little bit wide there from Pascal. We believe Florson's going to have a look here. Inside line this time. 2 drivers behind looking, trying to find a slipstream that better suits them. As one driver pulls, Williams up the inside, McLaren around the outside, and Antonio Bobe in the background as well. GFO losing out, now down to 8th. With Antonio Bobe moving in, goes down the inside of the Williams into 4. Very ambitious there. Pascal hangs on. No, he's got the Red Bull side by side as they're through 5 and 6 now. Left, right, left. The Red Bull makes his way. The McLaren now puts himself around the outside of Pascal. Pascal down to 8th. Bobe up to 6th. Hugo now in 5th. Florson up to 4th. It's all shaking up here at the end between these drivers. MDJ has closed that gap down to 4 seconds, but with 3 laps to go, might be tough. Young Light's holding on to that final points paying position. I don't see him not. 30 seconds to Nikon behind. Florson has dropped back from Legion. No DRS to Hugo. No DRS for Antonio. Going to put him at risk to Bobe and Pascal here with a few laps to go. Winding down for Elite Aspect F125 round 4 here at the Bahrain Grand Prix. Yeah, as Hugo is a little bit kind of holding on to that 1 second gap to Florson, so we'll keep an eye on that. But we have the battle for 6th here between Antonio, GFO, and Pascal. Hugo not too far up the road. So any mistake by any of these drivers at any time here, and they could drop 3 or 4 positions all in one. We have a caution in sector 1. I think that was yellow flags for Nikon, maybe. A blue flag as Sergio was coming through. Actually, I think it will be GFO at risk here from Pascal. Absolutely going to get that move done. Is Hugo able to get into Florissant? Doesn't look like it ahead. MDJ slowly closing. Young Lights maybe as well, but I don't know if it'll be enough. As GFO, ONB, Antonio, Hugo, and Florissant might all be, their hard tires are screaming. 2 laps to go here as our leader, BA Sergio Sobrino, has dominated the weekend, especially in qualifying, and it's come out here and done his job and got it done with very, very quick pace overall, qualifying and race pace as we now see. Edvin Naslin moved up all those positions starting near the back after unable to qualify, so had a reserve qualify, so unable to use that spot, had to start from the rear. Legion putting his stamp down on this evening's proceedings, as an arrival, able to keep up with top drivers. We knew we had the pace, just I knew missed a race here or there and a couple practice sessions and maybe qualifying, but we knew it was there. And I think this was the first weekend that Legion was actually able to show and put it all together to show us what he's capable of. Florissant again, very consistent in 4th place. Hugo again came in as a reserve in the V-Carb and showed us all what he can do. Antonio Bove, very exciting to see. I think this is their first session. Pascal, I think, is a reserve. GFO new for McLaren, was able to show us what he can do. Has been up there, had an unfortunate string of events. Nothing crazy with contact, but for GFO, just losing out to one person under DRS and losing a second position at the same time has happened to him multiple times. MDJ with their soft compound tires is maybe looking to take both of these drivers on the final lap here. It's about GFO. It is not their final lap. They're on lap 56. It is Sergio that is on lap 57 of 57, the final lap. So we will keep an eye on him. Naslin into turn 1 for the final time. Legion out of turn 13 for the penultimate time. Still possible between Bove, Hugo, and Florissant. That could be a battle. As it's GFO, MDJ, and Pascal in the fight at the moment. MDJ is going to have DRS, is going to get by. GFO coming too. Thinking about the inside line, MDJ should have a much better braking. As GFO still unable, MTJ able to get by, but GFO unable to even make up one spot. Now down to 9th. MDJ up 7th. That's excellent running there. Antonio Bove past Hugo. I'm sorry I missed that. As that should be Sergio crossing the line, your race winner for Elite Aspect F1 25. Round 4 here in Bahrain. Sergio Sobrino in the V-Carb takes the checkered flag. Winner of chicken dinner. Congratulations, with Edvin coming across 14 now. I don't see Legion being caught by anybody unless there's a mistake. If he makes a mistake, I don't want a commentator curse. Florissant still under it with Antonio Bove up to 5th now. Very old hard compound tires versus mildly used hard compound tires. Trying to stay out of slipstream. Just need to finish up one more as that'll be Legion across the line, first and third. I know I see penalties, but I don't know who's got them and how many they are. I'm really not concerned about that. It's when you cross the line. Legion will be third. That'll put Florissant fourth. Antonio Bove cross the line fifth, but move him above his teammate due on penalties. As you see, Hugo, GFO, OMB, Pascal, MDJ, and then Young Lights all cross the line as well. As everybody else has crossed the line or has finished, so I don't think any more penalties will be handed out. That's going to do your final positions there. That's VA Sergio winning this race. Dominant performance. Well done by him. 28 seconds ahead. Then Edvin Naslin in second. With now Florissant moving up to the podium position after the time penalties for track limits have been handed out. So congratulations, especially to Sergio. Fantastic race from him. Fantastic weekend. Really showed us how fast someone can be, how good someone can be at this game. So fantastic performance from them. Edvin Naslin in the background in the Haas there. Absolutely wonderful performance from the back of the grid, not qualifying. And then Florissant, again, very consistent, making his way onto that podium, just sticking with it throughout the whole race. Overcoming any circumstances or adversity you may have to deal with in the race. And then being rewarded at the end for a consistent drive and no penalties is Florissant in third. So there is the race winners for you, the celebration. Congratulations, Sergio, in the V-Carb. Very well done, sir. Congratulations to you and your team. The entire V-Carb establishment, as their two reserve drivers today showed us what's capable. OMB, Roberto, and OMB, there's Alberto, and I forget the other ones who's been fantastic this year as well. Marcos Omedo, both of them as well, very, very quick. So the whole V-Carb team, very, very strong. That's going to do it for this week, as that was round 4 of Bahrain, as we had a fantastic race for Elite Aspect F125 round 4. And again, we do appreciate everyone here. Those are your top spots. And as far as driver of the day, overtakes, cleanest driver, Florissant, congratulations. The race winner, Sergio, of course, with the fastest lap as well. So congratulations to the V-Carbs of Sergio. Congratulations to the Haas driver of Edvin Naslin, with driver of the day and the most overtakes to finish second as well, where he started. Very, very nice drive. And Florissant and the Aston Martin, congratulations for your bottom of the podium position. In third place, so very, very well done to all of you drivers. And that is going to do it for this round. We look forward to seeing you guys next week for Saudi Arabia. Free practice 1 and 2 on Thursday, free practice 3 on Friday, followed by qualifying. And then we'll get into the race at Jeddah on Saturday, July 19th at 8 p.m. British Standard Time. So we'll see you guys all then. Do appreciate you guys watching. I'm Fabregas115 signing off from this week's race around the Bahrain Grand Prix.